So a pick that recently feels Ryze favored in the Azir matchup because of the ability to skip over the Rod of Ages and go for the more Abyssal Mask, the more tanky side of the equation. Could just be lane bully status. Yep, is confirmed lane bully status for Smeb here on the Gnar. So interesting to see what Tal's pick will be on the blue side, given that his only competitive game so far, at least in the LCK, has been on Gnar.
Yeah, a bit of a no-brainer. We talk about the Ryze Gnar in almost every single matchup because it seems to be pretty prioritized.
Should also talk about Tal a little bit, given that a lot of people are tuning in for this match.
Yeah.
Was, of course, son of Kasing in EU solo queue, played on Red Bulls. Same team that Kasing played on in the Challenger Series. Looked like a carry, but predictably with these young Korean players going overseas, never really got the communication issues out of the way. So while he has some spotty experience, certainly not telecom war fire experience like he'll need here. So a big ask for him. See the Camille banned away. That's actually a flex pick for SKT. Even recently, we've seen Blank play a lot of the Camille jungle. Nidalee Camille were his two biggest picks in the jungle role. Rengar was the next one. So very well could see the Rengar from SKT.
Kha'Zix, another option here as well. Score, of course, lifetime, phenomenal Kha'Zix player. 77% win rate, something like that, sitting on about a 5.6 KDA on the champion of all time across 22 games. Two of those games this season, though, Papa Smithy, and they were both losses.
We did see the Alistar for a moment. Soraka would again be a crazy one. You don't really see too much backline threat short of the ultimate from Kalista at this point, but let's see if there's fishing for information. We've seen a lot of mind games so far from the side of KT. A Soraka would be surprising. The Alistar would be classic Mata.
Absolutely, and this is what I wanted in game number one. I wanted every game that I see any of these supports that have been known for their Alistar play. We were treated to Gorilla earlier. We were treated to Wraith as well in the series before.
It's unsealed.
Oh, we're going to have double Spellbook bottom lane, most likely.
We have double AP, too, if it's going to be the Vladimir lock-in here. Vladimir does not win the matchup against Gnar in any significant way. We only have one game of recent evidence, but it was actually the Gnar making the winning side of the matchup. Spectre's Cal into Black Cleaver, and a long enough lane, you can actually, with Hyper, burst down, well, burst is a strong word, but take down a Vladimir.
Oh, I really like this. If this is where Blank is going to go on the J4, his last performance didn't actually die on the champion, is one of those tanky frontline threats, can build really strong, but also has the presence in the early game. The other option obviously was the Zac, decides not to go for it.
And Zac could be the final pick here for KT if they feel good enough about the lanes. Kind of the question is, can they afford to go for a Zac or a Shyvana, which would be another choice that's possible. The lanings are strong from KT, but drafting Shyvana in pro play is still pretty unexplored. We know the power of the champion in solo queue when you can go for a red smite and kill people with the Presley attack, but it's probably going to have to be a bit more measured from Score, and he looks at the lanes and feels strong enough to go for the Shyvana. Still a risk, though. Interesting drafts here from KT and SKT, as seems like we're going to have a little bit of a delay, maybe a remake coming through here of the lobby, but we know the champions, so all the information is out there for you, OGN Legion.
Got absolutely everything. Do not worry. Looked like Deft and Mata were potentially unable to swap their champions around.
Getting the confirmation from Joel that there will be a remake. The lobby froze, so it seems like no one's getting a penalty. I guess we should mention, because of what we saw earlier in the week, actually last week, Crown disconnecting from the lobby early, that was deemed intentional, and KSV actually drew a penalty from that. So that means if they do anything like show up to the studio late or anything else that incurs a penalty, they'll actually lose a match point. In this case, it's deemed a bug, so from what we understand, there will be no penalty laid to either the feet of KT or SKT.
Yeah. Does mean that we've got a little bit more time to talk about this draft as well, Papa Smithy.
I love it.
Having Score on the Shyvana, I do actually have his stats up here, so I haven't actually seen much of his Shyvana, and in fact, I have never seen it in pro play because no one's ever seen it in pro play, Papa Smithy.
I'll be able to double check that on my stats database, but sounds right. Shyvana jungle, was a thing. You think back to season 2, right?
Yeah.
When Gambit Gaming was running around.
Moscow 5.
Then Moscow 5. Shyvana top also a thing, and Shyvana's been so edge of the meta and basically a non-factor, but kind of Score's entire lifetime as a jungler. Only debuted as a jungler in 2015. And it does sound right that it'll be his first visit on the champion. Definitely low lane impact, but they feel good about Ryze versus Azir. They actually feel surprisingly good about Gnar against Vladimir, because it seems like that matchup is either equal or maybe even slightly Gnar favored, and the laning phase in bot lane is not going to be too much of a headache on paper The on-paper worked for KT in Game 1. We don't know the reliability of it. Bang getting his little battle yawn out of the way for now, but the fire will certainly hit the rift soon.
And also getting the pep talk from Coma as well. You often see him over at Bang's chair, just making sure that he gets in the mindset. And I understand it because this is not one of those games where Bang is sitting on one of those lower tier champions. Bang has been known to be an extraordinary Kalista player. And this is one of those times where he's given all of the power. We've got the coveted picks. The Varus, extraordinarily high up there with his abuse of the Rage Blade. And Kalista certainly being looked at as one of those at the same time. We're looking much closer to getting into the game.
Bang is 30-4 in his career. 30 wins, 4 losses on Kalista. Was undefeated for his first 25-plus games. It's been a pick for him, but recently he's prioritized things like Ezreal above it. Ezreal not available here. Lot of intriguing matchups. On paper, it seems like KT should be happy, and the Shyvana mid to late game, only Spirit has really unlocked. Game 2 of a telecom war. We've never had a 2-0 for KT with their current lineup since the start of 2017. They've never even won a best-of series, Atlas.
And this roster hasn't even got a 2-0 at all either way in this matchup. We're always going to Game 3, so we'll see whether it happens again, ladies and gentlemen, as we head to the Rift for Game 2. Oof. SKT fans certainly showing up. We're in a packed Soli Stadium right here, Papa Smithy. Everyone wanting to check out the telecom war.
Yeah, whether they're first or last, the KT and SKT fans will always come to deem who is the victor between these two famous companies. If you're new to the telecom war, KT and SKT are the two primary mobile phone carriers here. So Verizon versus AT&T. If you're an American, you understand that this is definitely high stakes. These teams are both very well supported, very well paid, superstars everywhere. But SKT.
And also for Australians, of course, Optus versus Telstra. You know, we got to help them out.
Where were you on the side of Optus versus Telstra?
Well, I mean, custom sport-wise, it's all about Optus. But as far as coverage, you have to go with Telstra.
I'm just saying, which side were you on?
Telstra.
There you go. I was a Telstra man, too. I guess we're biased.
Yeah, there we go. But we're not biased when it comes to SKT versus KT. Both of us, KT Internet, and we have SKT telephone service. So
I was stipulated by Riot Games, so we had to do that. Just kidding.
If only. That would have been going a little bit too deep. That is going to be the red buff leash, though, coming out for SKT.
The man on your screen a moment ago, that man Blank that you're mentioning, is kind of the game breaker here, because we're saying, oh, all the lanes look pretty good, and we know how scary Shyvana is if she shows up with a Devourer and a Frozen Mallet without too much action happening. The lanes are looking decent. Outside of a moment of brilliance from a man like Faker, it feels like the jungler is that great unknown variable that always messes up the scientific equation that is team comps on paper. So let's see what things Blank can make happen. He was a bit of a voyeur, just kind of watching on as KT dominated Game 1. Needs to be more active in Game 2 to give his team something to work with.
Well, upon hits level 2, you can see already Faker is dominating this lane. We had a feeling that maybe he'd be able to navigate this early game quite well because he knows the other side of the matchup so exquisitely. 4 games already on the rise so far in the LCK. We haven't seen a lot of Faker's Azir, though. Of course, haven't seen it this season, and of course, was out of the meta in the last season. Has historically played it to such great effect, but it's been a while.
It was a pretty big meme back when Azir was really center of the meta, which I'm thinking back to 2015, that, you know, Faker wasn't even the best Azir on his team. Back when
there was a certain Hoon,
Easy Hoon, one of his small effective champion pool was the Azir, but the thing about Faker's Azir that people miss is that actually, when you look at his win rate on the champion, predictably in a team that's done well, he's actually always been very capable on it. And if he didn't have the single champion mastery that necessarily Easy Hoon had, he was always impressive in his own right on the Azir. So certainly someone who can play-make. They have a lot of playmaking options now for SKT. Even if you see Vladimir come in from the flank, the 10% damage amp on a beautiful Azir sec play might be enough to just ravage KT. So no guarantees, even with the draft. Looking pretty good for KT Rolster.
Well, speaking of looking pretty good, SKT are able to look and see that the Gromp hasn't been taken just yet. You can see Score heading back down, grabbing the Wolves. before picking that one up, and they will have eyes on the Shyvana.
Ada doesn't go for Unsealed Spellbook, so we'll not be going for what seems like the flavor of the month rune onto the Alistair that was made famous by Ming over in the LPL. This has Ignite, so certainly has a lot of all-in power with the Aftershock proc and Ignite. And maybe just wants to prey upon effort and surprise him with early damage.
See, thankfully Bang wearing his own skin on the Callista.
At least someone on SKT will use their own skin.
Yeah, exactly. Faker disappointing us every single time.
Certainly won't be using Easy Hoon's Azir skin.
Although that would have been the best troll. The man that never uses a skin when it's not even his for his team. Perfect. Doesn't quite have that sense of humor, though.
Only take delight in winning.
Yeah.
Which is usually the mark of a real champion. And like you say, he's in luck. He's won a lot.
He certainly has. Not as much recently, though. Wants to get back to that point. Saw a big smile on his face, actually, before game number 1. Pawn able to throw a bit of harassment on top of him, though. Teleport going to be utilized. Blank heading back. The Unsealed Spellbook allowing Pawn to stay in this lane quite well. And a decent back timing with the tier picked up alongside the Ruby Crystal, so we'll be a little bit more healthy.
Abyssal Mask heavily expected here to be able to just withstand the lane, and then Shyvana has good magic damage, a little bit of hyper from the Gnar, but also Varus is heavily expected to go for the Rage Blade and have his own magic damage as well. So a lot of value from the Abyssal Mask passive, along with the laning stats it'll give him.
Abuse onto Pawn here in the mid lane, as you can see. Headbutt Pole lands down onto Bang. Unbreakable a little bit late to block that hail of arrows.
Seems like Deft is just Unsealed Spellbook on every AD carry. Found a new favorite rune.
I think so.
It's already been more successful than his attempt at a new summoner in the Teleport Jace he tried.
Well, exactly. I was about to mention that one as well. That was a long time ago, digging back into the history books, but that was an abundantly clear misplay.
If we're going to go through the history books to find things to praise, we have to also go through the history books and laugh a little bit.
Yeah, that's true. We haven't spoken about Mata and his support options, and we'll save that if we get some extra downtime, because that one's a little bit more of a storied history. But so far, the bottom lane, not as explosive, certainly not as one-sided as we saw in game number 1, which is a good news story for SKT. The more even these lanes are, the better it is for Blank on this J4, because the Shyvana not going to be doing a lot of work ganking early.
If it just keeps going even, if no one's dying, still pretty good times for KT as Mata takes too much free damage.
Yeah.
Again, Ceteris Paribus or other things being equal, Shyvana getting a free jungling phase to just farm up. Doesn't have a farm lead, about camping a little bit behind. But Shyvana just getting a free jungle, press the attack, heavily expecting Score to go Frozen Mallet second. If 2 items Shyvana isn't punished, and short of Jarvan CC, you just can't really emulate the teamfight damage and presence of a Shyvana.
Yeah, feels like a top laner, to be honest. Half the time, you'll do more damage than your top laner, unless it's something like a Jace, and probably should do more than Smith. Some of these teamfights. But we'll also see a lot more priority on that Dragon as well, getting those permanent stacks, making sure Scores as powered up as possible, see whether he heads down there. He's level 6, Blank also level 6.
It's just nice to see KT responding in draft, because there was definitely a long time in Spring especially where KT knew how to draft strong for their style, right? They knew what a winning KT comp would look like, but sometimes they were a bit tone deaf for what the enemy was running. I think of the Talon top when they kind of over-pursued on win lane, win game, and no other way to take down a team like SKT. This time, they see strong lanes, and there is the latitude for a Zac or a Shyvana without just losing lanes and then the Shyvana getting invading and never getting going. So for a time to pick Shyvana, it's a pretty good one. Whether Shyvana will be effective or not, that much is still to be decided.
Yeah, it doesn't quite have the Blood Razor, so finishes off the recurve bow. It's finally ahead in farm as Blank is going to hand over this blue buff. Blue spawning a little bit later here for KT as Pawn could potentially teleport back, but actually decides not to. Utilizes the fact that Faker had to go and collect his blue. Doesn't actually shove the wave, and so Pawn, with that summoner spell available, meaning that KT do have global options here in the earlier stages of the game.
Blank's pathing through mid lane isn't spotted by the control ward that was placed. Pawn's actually playing towards the area that Faker has vision supremacy.
Yeah, but he is going to get shoved back. Pawn uses his stopwatch and gets under the turret. That was swift thinking from Pawn.
Even brings the minion wave back. Feels good, man. As Score if he's face-checked, can actually do insane damage to Blank, but he's just waiting, lying in wait.
Oh, Sand Soldier putting in there.
That was so heads up by Faker. That's the one area that wasn't being scouted by Blank, and he even gives him coverage there. So smart move from the mid laner. No surprise for Faker.
Piercing arrow coming in. You can see Deft here has actually got a stopwatch as well. Stopwatches are plenty on the bottom side of the map, apart from Effort. He's decided not to go for it.
Now, they do have the earlier push. They're happy to push in. Smite.
Oh, look at that. Score. So much better. You get that auto attack reset. He can pick up the smites like nobody's business.
I mean, on this day, 2 out of 2 reward, but the fact that Score is smiting it and gets almost no value from blue buff is
probably not
still a win for SKT.
Didn't want to go into that, Smithy. You got to shout out.
We don't tell half stories over here. No half truths, only full truths here, Atlas. We're Mythbusters.
It's his 401st game.
Just keep the fake news away, please.
Okay, Blank's going to clear out some vision. SKT understanding that having vision available around the dragon is certainly a good idea when there is a dragon on the enemy team.
Lore appropriate. Nice control ward on the enemy red buff. They're hoping won't be scouted. Gives them ideas of which quadrant. And look at that. Look at these 2 wards. I love the control ward on the red buff. They have vision of the Raptors and also vision. Basically, there's no entrance for Score to enter his own jungle and not be spotted. So wherever Jarvan is, he'll have a very good idea of knowing which side of the jungle that Score is on. And now that he doesn't see them on any of the wards, he should probably feel that maybe even some of his own camps are going to be at risk.
Yeah, Score actually making his way over through the vision as well, which is useful. You can see so much forward vision effort.
The blue
also
ping,
adding
that's really cool. So the blue ping was actually onto the Rift Herald because one of the few places they can't see. So now where Score is, he's ruining the jungle for Blank.
Actually denies that little wolf. Haven't seen a lot of denial recently.
And it's the famous Moscow 5 skin as well.
Yeah.
That was the one that both Darian and also Diamond Prox were using.
I liked the bone one a little bit more. Of course, both of them looking brilliant. Okay, Rune Prison down on the Faker, but it is Pawn that's taking the poor end of this trade. And they were right, to a certain extent, Papa Smithy, because it will be Score taking the Rift Herald after destroying the jungle, like you mentioned, of Blank. There's Tal, Smeb going so aggressive.
Those matchups where I think people have misread how Vladimir does this, but it's fine, but not great.
Don't want to face check Score.
Yep, press the attack. You guys are wondering why Shyvana's so prized. She's the best and really only user in competitive play of press the attack. The ability to instantly proc it means the damage jungler that brings almost no CC can auto-Q, and then every bit of damage from burnout and everything after that is proccing the extra 12% damage that press the attack gives you. People thought it would be press the attack Vayne, but how many trades are actually 6 to 9 auto attacks in lane? Almost none. One is Shyvana, instant proc into the rest of her kit, doing huge damage, means the press the attack works very well for her.
Yeah, and now going to do a whole bunch of work taking down this Rift Herald as well, because Blood Raise is completed. You can see Score's damage has sort of exploded at this stage. Once you grab that first jungle item, and you were talking about having to deny the Shyvana, they will deny her the first Cloud Drake of the game. So it will be the more valuable, I guess, overall objective in the Rift Herald, but Cloud Drake going to be picked up and the Dragon denied. KT?
You definitely feel good denying Drakes away from a Shyvana. Lose that 5 armor and magic resist for every kill, but, you know, Rift Herald is definitely more prized than a single Cloud Drake, and it's going to be Ocean next, so KT are actually going to be afforded the latitude to maybe play away from the Dragon and not necessarily just play bottom side because there's no mountains or infernals to occupy their mind.
Oof, Mata making his way in. Of course, Mata and Gorilla probably most known for their abilities to get around the map on Alistar. Sort of share that particular characteristic. Mata using it a little bit more to get vision down because that's, of course, his MO, but both of them certainly knowing where to be at the right time.
I mean, we sat here.
Gets himself out.
Yeah, we sat here pre-game and we looked at Mata's champions he's played so far this season, Braum, Tahm Kench, and Taric, and both of us said, would love to see a playmaker from him. You know,
yeah.
Mata, of course, can play disengaged support, but made his name on Alistar and Thresh especially. So really nice to see him on a champion with engage options after so far just being a disengage god. As vision has been good from SKT. They know which side of the jungle that the Shyvana is on, but the camp respawn timers would have told them that, and now they don't have the same sort of coverage on the top side. So apart from knowing where he started, Shyvana's fast, Shyvana's going to keep roaming, and they no longer have tabs on score.
Yeah, feels like KT have made it through this early game extraordinarily well. 200 gold is the lead here for KT Rolster. And SKT not punishing it. Of course, they do have a composition that scales beautifully well. Think about the AoE potential of this comp. You add Hemoplague, amplifying all damage that's coming in. Bang's going to be sticking his little sticks into multiple people after that 2-item spike comes in with the Hurricane. And then you've got Faker, Sand Soldiers. They're just happy to stab in directions, Pub Smithy. They'll do damage to everyone.
It does feel like Faker holds all the trump cards. 2 consistent damage threats between the Azir. Listen, honestly, Vladimir, once he gets 5 points into Tides of Blood, also falls in that category. A lot of consistent damage, but also, the chance for Kalista just to be blown away by a dive from Shyvana. So Faker's use of the Emperor's Divide, I think, will be the really big treat in team fights. He can deny a lot of what KT's setting up, short of, say, a huge flank coming through from Smeb. He kind of has the tools to carry a game, which is always scary. It's why something like Azir fits him like a glove, because of the carry potential. There's no guarantees about any of that.
The thing that I'm excited about is what KT is going to do around Baron towards the mid to late game. Looking at about 10 minutes from now, you can see Rift Herald is going to be flying forward, but we're still at only 15 minutes into the game because Realm Walk plus Shyvana plus Deft on this attack speed based, potentially Blade of the Ruin King building Varus is an option, but the Cataclysm goes down on the bottom side. Deft is in trouble. We've got Unbreakable Will. Deft holds onto the flash and the heal for a long time. Mata, he's going to get out, but he doesn't have the ult anymore. That's 4 members of SKT. Mata will waste their time, exactly. But 4 will be able to grab it. But look at Smeb and Score. They'll take 2 turrets in trade for this.
Yeah, I don't know if Tol should have actually teleported out of this lane because it guarantees that 2 turrets would go down. It was very telegraphed by SKT. Put down the deep ward, the summer special that we saw basically every game of LCK Summer. But losing 2 turrets in an instant, Atlas, this is the sort of game where that is actually going to be a double whammy, because whenever you have an extremely long lane, 2 turrets down in a side lane this early against Ryze, the Ryze push-up vision into Realm or onto Baron becomes possible.
Well, Bond's actually looking for Faker. Emperor's Divide comes in, but here's the cavalry. Dragon's Descent flies forward. The flash after Faker. The Realm Walk to make sure that we've got a Rune Prison available. Flashes on top. Good double knockup from Blank, but it's all too late.
Very nice chase by KT. They knew their limits. They wanted to kill that MVP from the side of SKT. He's down. They push up vision. No Baron to take too early in the game, but KT control the map again.
This is really scary if you're an SKT fan. KT are playing like they know exactly what their comp needs to do.
Yeah, chasing the Jarvan out of the jungle as they rotate members around. This is beautiful macro from KT. They get an advantage. They kill the Azir. The Emperor of Shurima is in the death chamber. They also chase out the jungler. No one's going to be slowing down this turret take. 3rd of the game for KT.
Yep, and Smeb shoved up that top lane means that he can now lie in wait, gatekeep on this bottom side. We've got a minute before the Ocean Drake comes up. It will then mean that 2 minutes after that, the Baron will be in contention. And Pawn, he's even going to be able to get out when Blank finds him shopping.
Sleeping Giants, both KT and SKT after 2 games. We weren't sure about the strength of either.
Yeah.
We still are not 100% convinced by KT. There's been too many KT moments in their first 2 sets to really believe in KT, to get excited about KT.
Oh, you even quoted it. I quoted it last time we saw them, but I feel like you're right. There's got to be a time when saying you're excited is okay.
The thing about KT here is that there really hasn't been the KT-esque mistake. This has been 1.5 games where they have looked more calculated, where they haven't made obvious one-man mistakes. We haven't seen all 5 of them fire, but we haven't seen any of them misfire. And for KT Rolster fans, that's at least a building block towards the high expectations they want to grow for this 5-man lineup.
Yep. The rush of blood to the head that we're just so used to expecting has not come in. SKT now lying in wait, trying to get that Cataclysm, Hemoplague, Emperor's Divide combo working out for them, but none of the bait is being taken.
Free vision clearing is not there for Blank. That's why Blank's not going to try and clear that control ward. He saw the Alistair and backed away.
Yep, we got the wave being shoved out here from Smeb on the bottom side of the map. Both of these outer turrets have been taken, so that's a long lead that can be prepped by one of these top laners or anyone that can make their way down there.
Note that even though they have extensive control ward vision forward that's started to be cleared in SKT's red side jungle, post 20 minutes, they're going to move all that vision to the blue side jungle and try that Realm Walk Baron. Baron can really be the icing on the cake for KT. But because they're only 18 minutes in, second Drake of the game would be nice.
Yep. Oh, well, Marta's going to be able to get in here. Dragon's Descent comes down, so Score massive in the front line. Good disengage from SKT. There's a lot of buttons are being pressed, so no Glacial Fissure available, and Bang doesn't have his ultimate either.
Draw out the ultimate from Shyvana, who already hit her items very early, so Dragon not being available is another teamfight tool that KT are denied. Now SKT are going to keep cutting between threatening the mid lane and threatening this Drake, and they know that at least one big tool, and even the Varus ultimate as well, are down.
Oh, that was almost the Deft special with a potential face check. A lot of vision being available here as Deft standing in the back line, SKT regrouping. The thing that I absolutely love about this, Papa Smithy, if we do have an opportunity to talk about it, is the fact that if SKT try to deny this Dragon, it's going to be so easy for that Realm Warp to be used and the Baron to be obliterated by KT if they have the correct vision and the correct information on the side of KT.
Really big fight for effort. He desperately wants vision in that crevice towards. They see Rise on the top side as well. That means SKT know it's a 5v4 for now.
Yep, they're looking to start up this Dragon, but look at what Smeb's able to do. Able to buy some space. Oh, the flash, not quite enough. Empress Divide will mean that Pawn's going to be in trouble. No more stopwatch, no more opportunities. Hemo Plague locks down Deft, and this is the SKT that we've been waiting to wake up. They grab the 2 picks, and this could mean Baron.
Yeah, they're going to definitely turn on to the Baron. Score is still alive, but with no flash, does have the ultimate available. They're turning on to that objective, waiting for that KT mistake. We see it there. They were spread too thin, trying too many different ideas for a flank. See Shyvana actually going to be trading Ocean for the Baron. Not a great trade, but they believe in SKT's ability to deny. Free Baron to SK Telecom T1.
That's incredibly impressive. SKT waiting patiently. We were talking about KT as far as having the options. Wasn't the case. KT walked into their trap, and of course, it's the man in the mid lane for SKT that set it all up. The Emperor's Divide, even a flash couldn't get Pawn out of the way.
So remember that Rise was seen topside, went into mid. They collapse on Rise. Shyvana's out of position. Nara's out of position. They're around the Drake. There's no way for them to get there. Pawn is too far advanced, and Faker's killer instinct kicks in, and then unfortunately Varus is trained down. The Alistar's caught with ultimate, doesn't matter, dies as well. It wasn't a huge invitation like we've seen from KT in the past, or even in their past 2 best of 3s, but a big enough one anyway for the best player of all time to turn around this game.
Yeah. Now, what are SKT going to be able to use this Baron for is the question. Blank now is going to be clearing out some vision, but looks like a 1-2-1 setup with Blank floating seems to be some sort of the option.
Does allow them to get the map control. They've kind of been denied ever since they took the downward trade and gave up the 2 turrets in the top lane. Doesn't mean that they have to respect effort, though, as Smeb's going to keep walking up.
Yeah, Bang is going to be here, so maybe a little bit, but oh, this could be the face check. In trouble. Thankfully, the blast cone's there. Faker starts the onslaught of the turrets. Second one to go down for SKT this series.
Definitely not going to be an inhibitor-breaking Baron, but it's going to be a map control and also turret-equalizing Baron. All that SKT is looking for. They needed that Baron desperately. The foothold back in the game. Now they're looking stronger. We saw Blank having coverage for Faker taking the top lane turret. Hasn't been able to get near it because of all previous damage in the top lane, and mid lane's also going to go down.
Yep. Should be an easy outer ring being taken. Not sure whether they're going to be able to definitely grab these inner turrets, but Faker looking to try and get some poke damage down. Deft gets out of the way of most of it as Score's trying to clear out what remains of his jungle.
So much threat onto Deft. Remember, no flash Deft, no flash Pawn. And a Zirsek play from Faker could just ice 2 kills if he gets the right time.
Yeah. You can see Pawn actually sold his broken stopwatch as well, so no Zhonya's to be coming from that particular Fiendish Codex. Slow onto Score as well. It's really hard to get on top, but the Ghost is actually drawn out, but that does spell the end of the inner turret in the mid lane.
Big Baron buff power play when it comes to gold. Will not break the base, but the next time Team 5 victory happens, inhibitors go down, KT fall behind further. Such a big tempo swing we've seen in this game. Items looking strong as well. 2 items on Kalista and Azir. Both of them continue to power up. Vladimir also showing good presence in the bot side after being able to get into the backline in the last fight. The reality of going for a no-escape carry against Vladimir is that someone can get the flank. The one time Vladimir does, able to assassinate Deft. And now KT Rolls can make no more mistakes. Maybe they've already made one mistake too many.
That's what it feels like, Papa Smithy. Have to say that that moment felt incredibly pivotal for SKT. And slowly but surely, Bang is getting to the point where he is going to be a complete monster. We were talking about Faker. It was about him in that play earlier. But what that's done is set up Bang for almost easy success as we move towards the later stages of the game. 1-0-2, but has those two items that you need and the QSS that Kallistas absolutely love. He's in a great spot.
Yeah, SKT's team fight is much more of a known quantity than KT. KT needs to have a moment of brilliance, catch someone unawares to really pull off a true 5v5. If a fight just starts with Score jumping in, Azir, Kallista, Vladimir can play front to back and obliterate a front line very, very well. Best way to deal with SKT is to kite out the damage or find a pick, as we might have seen a pick here.
Yep, teleport does come in. Good flash, gets out of the way of the headbutt for Blank. They do get the summoner spell as Bang. He's going to turn up. Deft's here as well, though, so Smeb, he's not in any trouble, but Thal doesn't have teleport. He's got the Ghost on the bottom side with his spellbook, and he's going to look to push this one out. Means that KT has the man advantage, but not the confidence to try and take on SKT.
Yeah, the man advantage doesn't mean anything when you've only blown one flash. That's on the Jarvan, who can still face check and flag and drag away. And always back and get the teleport, swap it out for Ghost, such as the flexibility of the unsealed spellbook. We just returned to normalcy. Another objective piles up for SKT. They now have a 6,000 gold lead.
Getting very scary if you're a KT fan. The early game looked so good. KT trying something new, giving Score all of the space, making sure that the lanes are able to control themselves. That one moment, that one juggle around the Baron to the Dragon. SKT just playing together better as a unit. Faker turning it on. Haven't seen too much from him the last few minutes. It's been about 6. But when will the next play happen? Will it be KT looking for desperation, or will it be SKT just tearing down turrets like it looks like they're doing right now? No Smeb available, no teleport for him either. And 4 of them just watch as the turret falls down. There's a Cataclysm as Blank. The stopwatch is used, but he's in turret range. In goes Bang, and he's getting 3 shots. Score is going to be the first one down there under the turret. The 2-man Emperor's Divide, and these will be all of those Ren stats being torn out. Pawn's going to fall. It's a triple kill for the Kalista, but Smeb is massive, gets a brilliant wallop on top of Bang, but is it going to be enough? I don't think so. I think the base is still going to be broken.
Faker just overwhelms everyone. They see a time. Nar's not there. They dive it, and it works. Atlas, they're able to secure the kills. Can they actually end the game? 15 seconds onto Score. First thought is no, but still, it feels like that's the last dagger through the heart needed to take down KT Rolster and force a game 3.
Yep, I feel like Smeb may have just saved them from losing the game right there. However, still looking so dire. And Blank, this almost looked like a ridiculous engagement, but it all pays off.
Yeah, he has the stopwatch. Toll has the ability to ghost down and then just turn it on. Smeb is in Mini-Gnar. They see that little bit of information. Smeb in the mid lane with Mini-Gnar. Ghost is popped. Faker goes in. Easy cleanup here on the side of SKT. And even a great 3-man Gnar doesn't matter when there's no men behind you to capitalize on.
Yeah, and that was exactly what we were talking about as far as the Wombo combo that they have available to them. SKT is going to deny yet another Dragon. It was at least the Ocean going to KT, but it's all bad news otherwise. And Hemoplague onto 4 members, and then all of them smashed down with the Emperor's Divide. Meanwhile, Bang able to get all of the work done that he wants to. 4-1 and 4 now. 8 out of 9 kill contribution. His Kalista should never go to him, ever.
It's been a team performance. He's the only person short of 100% kill participation. It's 90% or above.
That's true.
For the entire team. Team performance required as Scores all alone.
Yeah, 401 isn't exactly the best game for Score thus far. He's going to finally use the stopwatch and gets a little bit angry. You can understand why. He's going to the Death Chamber. 4 versus 5 as SKT follow some super creeps towards the enemy base.
Really good stuff from KT. Reminds me of Kingzone yesterday, being able to turn it on the moment they got even a sniff of an opportunity. Smart is left all alone as SKT want even more than just the cow.
Yeah, Unbreakable Will's looking real breakable at this point, Papa Smithy. And it's just kill after kill. SKT know that when they're given an inch, they know exactly what to do. Smeb on the wrong side of this situation. Already the backs are coming in, but this will cost them an inhibitor. We've got super creeps on the Nexus. Bang, actually wanting to get Nexus turret damage. This will be all of the inhibitors going down. Looks like game number 3. It felt inevitable because every time we see this iteration of KT versus SKT, it goes the distance apart from the spring final.
The insane thing is, Atlas, that we've had all the best of 3s, 2 best of 5s, and yet there's only ever been one game that didn't go 3 games because the spring final was a 3-0.
Yep.
It was only the reverse sweep from SKT that did not go 3 games. Went the full 5 that time as SKT turned on to Baron, and sorry, KT, you're not going anywhere near it.
Nope. We're going to get our money's worth. That's the brilliant part. Selling tickets to the Telecom War is pretty easy because you know you're going to get all of those games. History has certainly taught us that one. And if there's any night where you want to be at work a little bit longer, it's certainly a night like tonight.
Game 3 will be KT on blue side. And so far, the series has gone blue side focus. How much of this game was Bang being back on Kalista certainly helped with their initiation. To me, the game was more decided by KT actually opening the door and SKT still being that high-class team to take advantage out of a mistake. In every iteration, through every lineup, that has been an SKT standby. Maybe they're in the early game, they fall behind. Maybe they actually don't have the tempo at the start of the mid game, but ever give them a chance and they will put you to bed. That's what they've done for KT in game 2. Feels like whatever happens this game, we're all but ready to ink the win for SKT and that mouth-watering game 3.
Oh, yeah. We'll remember that KT get to move back to the blue side, which has been somewhat of a power play. Got a ghost coming out somewhere. That was actually flashed from Mata used. Pawn having to use the ghost. Still able to move pretty quickly, but now it's that suffocation. It's that full power SKT knocking on your door. Super creeps, Baron buff, everything that they could possibly need. 2 minutes remaining of that purple aura. And Mata's just getting chunked. He will have to use the ultimate if he wants to try and start anything. Deft getting some decent damage, but he doesn't have the items that he had in the last game, and these turrets are getting smashed down. Blank jumps his way forward. Deft has to deal with that. Both turrets removed. Smeb's going to get destroyed. Score easily follows. Pawn trying to get damage down where he can, but Tal isn't even going to die. It's a triple kill for the god of the mid lane, and now they'll take down the Nexus. SKT will let it go the distance. It's a quadra in the end, and the king is back.
You never write the story of the Telecom War until the match is over. After game 1, KT looked oh so good. The game 2 start was also good for KT, and then the same SKT, the specter of the team that are 3